Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. A long time ago, I ended up making a video where I showed you guys some of the new video games that I was able to acquire to add to my game collection, and it really got me thinking. I showed you guys what I ended up picking up the last time I was able to purchase some video games, but I never got to really show you guys my entire collection of video games that I currently own, both physically and digitally. Hence why I decided to take the liberty in showing you guys what I currently own as of today. These are all the physical copies of video games that I currently own in my collection, and I'm really looking forward to showing you guys what I currently have right now, along with some of the digital copies of games that I've acquired over the years. But without further ado, let's get into it. So the first title that I currently own is Namco Museum for the PlayStation 2. I remember playing this game so much when I was a kid. Like, hell, I remember my mother used to play this so much. Like, she used to get so addicted to playing Pac-Man, Dig Dug, Galaga, you name it. Like, she used to be so addicted to playing the games that were on this game, and I used to enjoy it in my own right too. But that right there is Namco Museum. Hell, as a matter of fact, I even got the 20th anniversary collection. I even got this one too. Again, I used to have so much fun playing these games. Hell, even my mother used to have a lot of fun playing these games too. And the fact that I was able to get a hold of this to relive what I got to experience in my childhood, it's so much fun, man. It really is. But that's Namco Museum 20th anniversary. The next game that I have, Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus. By far my most favorite video game I have ever played in my entire life. I've played through it on PlayStation 2, PS3, and even on PS5 that I ended up doing a series on not too long ago if you guys want to go and check that out for yourselves. This is the only video game that I have played through more times than any other video game I have ever played in my whole life, and this game is always going to have a special place in my heart. So that is Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus. The next game, Sly 2 Band of Thieves. Yesterday, this game ended up celebrating its 20th anniversary since it launched in North America. The fact that this game is now 20 years old, dude, I was shedding tears, man. Like, I was starting to cry when I kept thinking about how old this game is now. But I personally think that this is where the series peaked, in my opinion. But without a doubt, this is a damn good successor to the original Sly Cooper game. But that right there is Sly 2 Band of Thieves. And the next one, you guessed it, Sly 3 Honor Among Thieves. It wasn't as great as Sly 2, but it definitely held its own in its own regard. Like Sly 2, it went for a more darker tone in terms of story, but as far as Sly 3 went, it went for a more light-hearted / humorous type of tone, which it worked at times, but at other times it did not. But I still enjoyed playing this game, and as a matter of fact, even finishing the campaign, like finishing the story as a whole, it still gets me crying, man. Like, it still does all these years later. But that is Sly 3 Honor Among Thieves. This next game... Wait a minute. Where's the box art? You know what? I'll make this even better. Ratchet and Clank. Oh my god, man. What can I even say about Ratchet and Clank, man? This right here, Ratchet and Clank. Honestly, dude, one of my most favorite platformers I have ever played in my entire life. I've had so much fun playing this game, whether on PlayStation 2 or on PlayStation 3. Ratchet and Clank, the one that released from 2002, not to get confused with the one that released in 2016, this one, holy crap, I freaking love this title. I love it so much. I have so many good memories playing this game over and over again. It's just so fun to play. I really enjoyed playing it, and while I don't necessarily play it nowadays, it's still a title that I genuinely enjoy owning, that I still look back on to this day. The next game that I got, Ratchet and Clank Going Commando. Now, don't get me wrong, as much as I really enjoy this game, at the same time, it is so freaking hard to play through. I've only ever played through it a few times in my whole life of playing this, and I've been playing this game to some extent for over a decade, and it's still pretty difficult to play through and enjoy. But yeah, man, that's Ratchet and Clank Going Commando. Very fun game without a doubt, but very difficult. Oh boy, we got another one. Let's see what's in here. Okay. I love Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal so much. I have played through this game almost as many times as I played through the first Ratchet and Clank title. And honestly, dude, I genuinely love this game. There's not really much that I could say because it's been so long since I played it, but just roaming around the planets, experimenting with the over-the-top weapons that you got to experiment with while simultaneously facing off against villains like Captain Quark or Dr. Nefarious. This game is so damn fun. I genuinely love this game to this day. But that is Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal. Also, don't be surprised if you end up seeing some of my copies have no box art. It's because when I purchased them on Amazon, some of them didn't come with like its box art, so it just came in just its standard case. The next game that I got, Ratchet Deadlocked. The first Ratchet title that we've gotten from Insomniac, in which it was pretty much meant for you to be playing with multiple other people. As you could see at the bottom, it supported online play, so you could pretty much tell that this game was meant to be played with a few other people. But if you did want to play it by yourself, you definitely had that option. For me personally, I played through this game from start to finish all by myself. I personally found enjoyment that way, as I never really got the opportunity to experience online play in a Ratchet and Clank title. But this game right here, so fun to play. I had an amazing time playing through it, and yeah, guys, that's Ratchet Deadlocked. The next game that I got, Ratchet and Clank Size Matters. My first time playing this game, it was on the PSP, as originally this game was meant to be for the PSP, but eventually it ended up getting a PlayStation 2 port as well. I never really got to finish this game, but from what I got to experience, I enjoyed it to some extent. It was difficult for me to figure out exactly what I had to do as I progressed further into the game, but from what I got to experience, I had a pretty good time playing it. And I don't know if I'll ever finish it at some point. I'm hoping I do. And I'm also aware of the fact that this game is available to purchase since it got emulated for the PS4 and PS5. You can get this game on current systems now. The next game that I got, Secret Agent Clank. I haven't heard that many good things about this game, to be specific. As a matter of fact, I did actually try this out. I only played it for like a few minutes, but once I got so overwhelmed by how strong the enemies were in the game, I decided, yeah, I can't do it. I give up. Now, this is another game that is going to get emulated for the PS4 and PS5. Insomniac, they ended up tweeting this not too long ago, where they announced that this game would be getting emulated for the PS4 and PS5, that you will be able to purchase later on in September. Do y'all remember when we got video games that were based off of really popular movies that we grew up watching? Well, I'm about to remind you with one. Because here I got The Incredibles for the PlayStation 2. Not only did I enjoy watching the movie, but I also enjoyed playing the game as well. Hell, I'll just even go ahead and say this, but The Incredibles, I would say that it's my most favorite Pixar film that has ever released. Like, The Incredibles is up there as being my most favorite Pixar film that I've ever seen. Definitely my most favorite than the likes of Toy Story, which, don't get me wrong, Toy Story is a damn good movie, and there were video games that did release for those movies. But for me personally, The Incredibles, it's just sitting at the top of my list as my most favorite Pixar film I've ever seen. And I also enjoyed playing the video game as well. Now this next one, I'm not sure if y'all are even familiar with this one, but I got The Incredibles Rise of the Underminer. Bro, the fact that we were able to get a second Incredibles game before the second movie even dropped, It's just crazy, man. And for me personally, I thought this game did a far better job of telling the story of the Underminer and utilizing that character to the fullest than The Incredibles 2 did in any way, shape, or form. Not only that, but you were actually able to engage in two-player co-op on The Incredibles Rise of the Underminer. You and somebody else could decide on whether or not you wanted to play as Mr. Incredible or Frozone. The next game, Jak and Daxter, The Precursor Legacy. I never got the opportunity to play Jak and Daxter before. I heard so many good things about these games, but I couldn't relate to it because I didn't know what it was about since I never played it. But I did end up playing this a few years ago. I did end up beating it, and honestly, dude, this is another underrated 3D platformer that I genuinely wish had more love to this day. Like, I genuinely wish we were still getting more video games based off of the Jak and Daxter characters, but sadly, man, that's just not the case. Oh boy, we got another one. And to be honest with you, oh man. Jak 2. Honestly, man, put it this way. I did my utmost to complete Jak 2. And I shit you not when I say this, I was so frustrated with how difficult Jak 2 was that the farthest that I progressed in the game was to the final boss. I was this close to completing the game, but because of how freaking difficult Jak 2 was to play, I gave up. Like, I genuinely gave up and I just couldn't do it. Yes, it was pretty stupid of me to do so, considering how I made it that far only to not finish it right then and there. But at the time, I just did not have the mental fortitude to play another hour of Jak 2. It was just so freaking difficult for me to play. Will I ever finish it? Probably not. But again, I just don't got the mental fortitude to play through something like that again. I would even go as far as to say that game, Jak 2, it's so much harder than Ratchet and Clank Going Commando. And both games are fun, but they're very difficult in their own right. The next game that I got, Jak 3. To this day, I still have not played Jak 3. I have not bothered to get onto this game and actually try it out for myself to really see just how the story ends in some way, shape, or form. I still have yet to try this game, but I do want to know from you guys if you actually did get to play Jak 3, and if so, what did you make of it? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Please let me know down in the comment section. But that right there is Jak 3. I got so many video games in my collection right now, I'm gonna have to fly by them a little quicker. Another video game that's based off of a movie that we grew up watching in our childhood, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The next game that I got, The Legend of Spyro, A New Beginning. Another video game based off of a movie that we watched growing up, and that is Hulk. Another video game that is based off of a popular movie that we watched growing up, and that is Madagascar. We got another one. Let's see which one this is. Oh, okay. Siphon Filter, the Omega Strain. We got another one. Let's see what is in here. Oh man, I don't know if you guys remember this game. I'm willing to bet you guys do. SOCOM 2. Yo, I have heard so many great things about SOCOM 2. Like, oh my god, dude. It is amazing to me how we still don't have as many SOCOM games as we would like to have. It's amazing to me how this series is still not continuing all these years later. Oh boy, we got another one. Jesus Christ, man. Let's see what's in here. Mission Impossible Operation Surma. Oh boy, we got another one. Although I'm not sure which one this is. Oh, okay. This is my old ass copy of True Crime Streets of LA. Dude, this game, oh my god, man. I freaking loved True Crime Streets of LA, man. I genuinely loved playing through this game, playing as Nick Kang. You're an LAPD detective trying to rise up within the EOD, which is the Elite Operations Division, and you're out on this manhunt trying to get some answers in regards to why your father disappeared and such, and who was involved in the disappearance of Nick's father. Like, bro, this game was so freaking fun to play. Fun fact, True Crime Streets of LA has one of the biggest open world in gaming history, even though the majority of the land is just duplicated buildings one after another after another after another. This game still has one of the biggest open worlds ever put together in a video game, and when you consider the fact that this was for a video game that released back in 2003, wow. I still can't believe I have my old ass copy of True Crime all these years later. I still can't believe it, man. I don't even know if this one even works. This next game, which coincided with the release of a movie that released back in the day, Lara Croft Tomb Raider, The Angel of Darkness. What I will say about this game is that it is very unfortunate that it released in such an unpolished state. Like, when you go and play this game, you can genuinely tell that it's just not finished. It needed more time to be developed. It needed more polishing. It just needed more time overall for the final product to feel as good as it should have. But unfortunately, this game had to release around the same time that Lara Croft Tomb Raider, The Cradle of Life, was going to release in theaters, and even that movie sucked from what I've heard. And what's even sadder is that the ending to this game never got followed up on. It just never did, hence why we never got to figure out exactly what Lara Croft was going to do going forward. It's unfortunate, but hey man, it is what it is. How many of y'all love Jet Li? Like, I really want to know. For me personally, I love Jet Li, but if you are one of those people, you'll probably be familiar or probably not with this specific game, Rise to Honor. Now, these next three games, one of the greatest trilogy of video games we have ever gotten in history, and that is the Grand Theft Auto trilogy. GTA 3, Vice City, San Andreas. These games still stand the test of time as being the greatest trilogy of video games that we've ever gotten in gaming history. Here's another thing too that I genuinely miss about video games back in the day. Y'all remember when video games actually came with a physical manual that actually illustrated, your introduction to the video game, what you would experience? It would outline the control schemes, and you could write notes in it as well if you had cheat codes and such. Dude, I remember we had physical manuals back in the day that we could use to just sift through any information that was told. Not only that, but in this copy, bro, I still have the GTA San Andreas poster. I never got to put it on my wall or anything, but I still got it here. Okay, so my copy of Vice City has a poster as well, and my copy of GTA 3 also has its poster as well. The fact that all these games still have their physical manuals and posters intact in these cases, oh my god, dude. It's just something I wish we had with current video games nowadays. I really wish we did, but it is what it is. Another series of video games that were based off of popular movies that we grew up watching, and that is the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. Now, this next game, I'm not sure if y'all are even familiar with this. Spider-Man Friend or Foe. This is pretty much Spider-Man No Way Home in the form of a video game. The fact that you're able to play as Spider-Man and face off against any of your past or future villains, but also team up with them in some way, dude, this game pretty much reminds me of Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, these next three games that I got, the Guitar Hero trilogy. As far as the physical collection that I have, we're halfway there. We are honestly halfway there. The next two games that I got, Max Payne. Max Payne 1 and Max Payne 2. Another set of video games that were based off of popular movies that we grew up watching, and that is The Matrix. Here's something cool about Enter the Matrix's box art as well. I move it. Do you see the effect? They put this much effort into making the box art look cool. And yes, the game itself wasn't all that perfect, but even then, dude, like I remember when game developers back then, they would put this much effort in making their box art look that freaking cool. Sadly, we don't even have that nowadays. Now, these next two games, True Crime. I did get another copy of True Crime Streets of LA, mainly because I wasn't sure if my old ass copy of the same game even worked. I wasn't sure, hence why I just decided to get another copy of True Crime Streets of LA, and I also got True Crime New York City. These next three games, hey man, if you played a lot of racing games growing up, you'll probably be familiar with this specific series. Midnight Club. Now, out of these three games, Midnight Club 1 was the only one that I was actually able to successfully play through. As far as Midnight Club 2, I never got to actually play through the game entirely. I did play around with it for a little bit, but I never got to play through its story. And as far as Midnight Club 3, bro, I could just hear the intro music to this game, Real Big by Manny Fresh. I can hear that right now, and it just hits, dude. It still hits all these years later. Oh boy, we got another one. Let's see which one this is. Ah, are y'all familiar with Need for Speed Underground? Now this next one, you probably know. Need for Speed Underground 2. I could just hear Riders of the Storm playing as I'm even holding up this game right now. Like, I could hear the song in my head as I'm talking about this. Now, this last racing title that I was able to get, Gran Turismo 4. These next two are the last two PlayStation 2 titles in my physical collection, and these ones are fighting games specifically. And this one right here, Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi. I remember me and my brother used to play this game a lot growing up. We had a lot of fun playing it. I don't remember if I actually even played through this game successfully. I don't remember, but I know I spent a good amount of time playing through this game, and honestly, dude, I thought it was pretty good. Now, this second fighting game is also the last title that I have in my physical collection of PlayStation 2 titles, and that is Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. This is the only Mortal Kombat game that I spent the most amount of time playing. I haven't played any of the newer Mortal Kombat titles that have released over the last several years, but this game I spent so much time playing growing up, and hell, even in my adult years, I spent so much time playing Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance that I was actually able to beat this game for the very first time ever. I've been going at this for almost an hour, man, and we still got more video games to go through. So now we're moving on to my physical collection of PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 titles that I've acquired over the last several months / years. Now, this first game that I got for PS4, Watch Dogs. As a matter of fact, earlier this year, I ended up doing a 10th anniversary series where I decided to play through the entirety of the main story of Watch Dogs while also playing the DLC expansion Bad Blood. If you guys want to check that out, I'll try to provide a link to it somewhere in the corner or somewhere in the description for you guys to go and check out. Now, this next game that I got, LA Noire. I have played through this game on the likes of Xbox 360, PS3, and on PS4, and I still enjoy playing it every time I get back onto it. I really enjoyed the premise of what you got to do in this game. Basically, for those who do not know, you play as an LAPD detective who rises up the ranks within the LAPD by going through various branches as you go to various parts of Los Angeles, trying to look into evidence pertaining to a case that you're working on. You question suspects to try to get to the culprit of who was behind the supposed demise of a certain individual. I really wish we got a sequel to LA Noire, but at the same time, I doubt that's going to happen. But hey man, at least we still have this. The next game that I got, Spider-Man Miles Morales. I ended up doing a series about a year ago en route to the launch of Marvel Spider-Man 2. You guys can go and check that out on my channel if you're interested. This next game. I don't have the disc, so I'm not able to really play the game, but I still own the case, and Modern Warfare 2 2022. I will say this is actually the first video game that I have ever pre-ordered in my entire life. Not only that, but this is also the very first video game that I was able to get a steelbook case for. This next game that I got, Batman Arkham Knight. This is another game that I ended up doing a series on my channel that you guys are more than welcome to go and check out if you're interested. But honestly, when Rocksteady was putting together the Batman Arkham trilogy, they were in their bag! And while I am aware that the majority of the people that worked on the Batman games are no longer at Rocksteady, it's still unfortunate to know that we're still not able to get really good games out of Rocksteady when they were in their bag working on the Batman Arkham trilogy. Now this next game that I got, Yakuza 0. This is another video game that I ended up doing a series on my channel that you're more than welcome to check out if you're interested. But I heard so many great things about Yakuza 0 that I really wanted to get a hold of this game to really see for myself just how good it was. And I can honestly say, man, this was a damn good video game. Holy shit. This next game that I got, Yakuza Kiwami. This game is still wrapped up in its plastic. I still never got around to playing this game, but I do intend on playing so at some point in the near future. But I really am looking forward to checking this out just to see how Kazuma Kiryu just grows as a character and just seeing where the story goes. Now this next game, Yakuza 6, The Song of Life. Now this is another Yakuza title that I haven't got around to playing. As a matter of fact, it's still in its plastic wrap if you're able to tell. But from the looks of the box art, it looks like she has a child. I'm not sure how that came to be, but I do intend on finding out whenever I get around to playing this game. Next title that I got, Yakuza Kiwami 2. This is another title that I haven't got around to playing. As a matter of fact, oh shoot, the plastic ripped. Okay. And this last one, as far as Yakuza is concerned, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. I still haven't got around to playing this game. As a matter of fact, I even showed this game off in a video that I did a long time ago where I showcased some of the pickups that I got as far as new video games are concerned. While I'm at it, I also forgot to show off these other games. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 2023. I got this one too. I also got Marvel Spider-Man 2, which I also did a series on this game too, if you guys want to go and check that out too. This next game that I also got, Assassin's Creed, the Ezio Collection, which consists of Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and Revelations. I was playing Assassin's Creed 2 for a bit, but I never got around to going back to it to complete my playthrough because I've been so busy playing other games to record for content. So these next 5 titles that I have are pretty much Assassin's Creed titles. The first one that I have is Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. Next game, Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered. This is also another fan favorite Assassin's Creed title despite the rocky launch it had, and that is Assassin's Creed Unity. This next one, Assassin's Creed Syndicate. And then this next one, which I'm not even sure if this is even a fan favorite too, but I also got Assassin's Creed Origins. I have so many new video games that have yet to even be played. Now these next set of games that I have, the Uncharted series. I got the Nathan Drake collection, and I also got the Legacy of Thieves collection as well. I'll just go ahead and say this right now. I genuinely considered on doing a series on Uncharted. Now, nothing is official, nothing is confirmed as of now, but I'm just saying I did consider on possibly doing a series where I play through one of the Uncharted titles. This next game that I got, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. It's another video game that I have yet to even play. Oh my god, bro. I got so many video games that I have to play. This next game, Infamous Second Son. It is amazing to see just how gorgeous this game looks, especially when you're playing on the PlayStation 4. Like, I was just like, oh my god. But I genuinely think this is a very good game to play, and if you've never played it, I truly recommend you give it a shot, as you will not be disappointed. This next game that I have, Ghost of Tsushima, the Director's Cut. I did play through this game on PlayStation 4. Such a damn good single player game. I genuinely loved playing through Ghost of Tsushima, and I am so looking forward to checking out the PlayStation 5 version as well. Now, the last physical copy that I have in my collection of video games, the Hitman World of Assassination trilogy, was consist of Hitman 1, 2, and 3. But yeah, that is pretty much all of the physical copies of video games that I have in my collection. Now it's time for me to show you exactly what copies of video games that I own digitally. So I'm here on my PS5 and I will show you some of the games that I managed to acquire digitally. And if you happen to come across some other games that I happen to own digitally, it's because I had physical copies before, but as I mentioned earlier, I had to give up some of them to make ends meet. So as far as the Spider-Man games are concerned, I did end up getting a hold of Marvel Spider-Man Remastered, which I did do a series on my channel if you guys want to go and check that out. I also got Saints Row Gat Out of Hell, which was bundled with Saints Row 4 Re-Elected as well. Some of these games that I had here, I had physical copies of them before, but I don't have them anymore. But as far as which ones specifically are digital, I have Mafia 2 Definitive Edition. I also got Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I also got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. And I also got AEW Fight Forever. Now here, it says the PS4 version, but I do have the PlayStation 5 version that I got through PlayStation Plus. Now as far as the PS2 titles that I have on PS5, I got the original version of GTA San Andreas, Bully, Max Payne, and Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus. Basically, 3 of these games I own physically, whereas 1 I own digitally, and that one being Bully. Also got Battlefield 4, Battlefield 1, Battlefield 5, and Battlefield 2042. 2 of these games I believe I acquired through PlayStation Plus. The other 2 I was able to purchase from the PlayStation Store because they were so freaking cheap at the time that I got them. I also got a hold of Black Ops 4 through PlayStation Plus. I also got a hold of Modern Warfare 2 Campaign Remastered, which it still bothers me how they only bothered to remaster the campaign of the OG Modern Warfare 2, but not the multiplayer. And when people tried to come together to bring Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer, I'm not going to get into it. I already did before. I also got X-Defiant, which I've been spending a good amount of time playing. I also got The Finals. I also got Marvel's Avengers, which unfortunately, man, it's just not as good as I really wanted it to be. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. I also got Splitgate 1. I never got to really try this game out. I never did. Although I am aware that the sequel did release at some point, although I'm not sure if it even has yet to release. But either way, I still never got to try out Splitgate, even though I owned the game. And I also got Rogue Company, which was another video game that I never bothered trying out despite owning it, but hey man, it is what it is. But that, ladies and gentlemen, was all of the video games that I own, whether physically or digitally. Jesus, man, I've been going at this for almost an hour and a half. I had so many video games to show off, but I also had so much to talk about in regards to some of them that I showed off. But I want to know from you guys, are there any video games that were in my collection that you are familiar with? And if so, which one stuck out to you? Let me know in the comments down below. I want to know what you guys have to say. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, you're more than welcome to drop a like on it. And if you enjoy this type of content, you're more than welcome to hit that subscribe button and that bell notification. If you happen to be watching this on my Rumble channel, you're more than welcome to do the same, as clicking that follow button and that bell would be very much appreciated. But until then, thank you guys so much for watching. It's been your boy Discreet, and I'll catch you in the next video.